Hello everyone, it is September 22nd, 2021, and I'm recording this video to show you some books that I have just received in the mail, courtesy of Columbia University Press. So Columbia University Press generously agreed to send me these review copies for discussions and reviews on my YouTube channel. I have a collection of 4 books here, and let's go through them one by one. So this is just a new arrivals kind of unpacking announcements. Later on, I will devote individual videos after I've read the books, individual videos discussing each book. The first of the 4 books here is called Emancipation After Hegel by Todd McGowan. The subtitle of the book is Achieving a Contradictory Revolution. In the back cover of the book, we have several blurbs from reviews of other people praising the book. One of them, the first one, is by Slavoj Žižek, who has written, quote, "This is the book we were waiting for, after long years of being bombarded by Hegel as a closet liberal, whose last word is recognition. With Todd McGowan, the revolutionary Hegel is back. However, it is not the old Marxist Hegel, but the Hegel after Marx. The Hegel who makes us aware that revolution is an open and risked process which necessarily entails catastrophic failures. Hegel's problem, how to save the legacy of the French Revolution after its breakdown, is our problem today. How to save the project of radical emancipation after the catastrophe of Stalinism. In a truly democratic country, Emancipation After Hegel would be reprinted in hundreds of thousands of copies and distributed for free to all students. Read this book or ignore it at your own risk." So we see Slavoj Žižek recycling some of his phrases, but praising this book. About the author, we read, Todd McGowan is professor of film studies at the University of Vermont. His previous Columbia University Press books are The Impossible David Lynch, 2007, Capitalism and Desire, The Psychic Cost of Free Markets, 2016, and Universality and Identity Politics, 2020. Emancipation After Hegel, Todd McGowan. The next one, just mentioned in that blurb about Todd McGowan, is also in this small collection, Universality and Identity Politics, also by Todd McGowan. I'm looking for a blurb about the book. So let's read this description in the jacket. The great political ideas and movements of the modern world were founded on a promise of universal emancipation. But in recent decades, much of the left has grown suspicious of such aspirations. Critics see the invocation of universality as a form of domination or a way of speaking for others, and have come to favor a politics of particularism, often derided as identity politics. Others, both centrists and conservatives, associate universalism with 20th century totalitarianism and hold that it is bound to lead to catastrophe. This book develops a new conception of universality that helps us rethink political thought and action. So in defense of, a kind of defense of universality. Okay. Third is a book called Hermeneutics as Critique. Science, Politics, Race, and Culture by Lorenzo C. Simpson. Here in the back, we also don't have a blurb about the book, but about Lorenzo C. Simpson. He's a professor of philosophy at Stony Brook University. His books include Technology, Time, and the Conversations of Modernity, 1995, and The Unfinished Project Towards a Post-Metaphysical Humanism, 2001. We have reviews of the book here, but I want to see a kind of publisher's short description. So maybe we can read a little bit from the preface. The aim of this book is to move the tradition of philosophical hermeneutics in new directions by developing a hermeneutics with critical intent, hermeneutics with critical intent. In doing so, I extend my earlier attempts to move us beyond the unproductive binary opposition of an imperialistic model of rationality to a normless relativism. So the opposition between an imperialistic model of rationality and a normless relativism, an opposition that suffuses so much of contemporary thought. The tradition of hermeneutics, philosophical hermeneutics specifically, beginning with Gadamer, Hans-Georg Gadamer, is concerned with interpretation, very generally speaking. Hermeneutics as Critique by Lorenzo C. Simpson. And finally, we have a book titled Touch, Recovering Our Most Vital Sense by Richard Kearney, or Richard Kearney. I hope my pronunciation is correct, Richard Kearney. All right, so one of the praises for this book comes from Charles Taylor, who wrote, Kearney is acutely aware of how our digital technologies exacerbate the drift to excarnation as opposed to incarnation in modern culture. This book casts much light on how we lost sight of touch and might regain it. Charles Taylor. There's also a line by Simon Critchley. It says, a fascinating piece of work by one of the most interesting thinkers of our age. Richard Kearney holds the Charles Sealing Chair of Philosophy at Boston College. He is director of the Guest Book Project for Creative Peace Pedagogy, and he has written many books on the philosophy of imagination and embodiment, translated into over a dozen languages. His previous Columbia University Press books include Anatheism or Anatheism, Returning to God After God, 2009, and Reimagining the Sacred, 2016. This book, Touch, is published in 2021, this year. All right. Thanks again to Columbia University Press for supporting my channel in this way. The reviews of these books will be coming. And I think it will be also useful for the viewers of this channel to get this announcement about the new arrivals, what I'm receiving from publishers, in case you like to join me reading these books. Read these books kind of synchronously, is that the pronunciation? In a synchronous manner with me while I'm reading them before I publish my reviews. And I also have a couple of different reading groups, and if there is enough interest in some of these books, we could set that book, we can assign that book for a reading group and discuss it, read it together at a slow pace. I generally, when I assign a book to a reading group, we generally go through the book chapter by chapter at a manageable pace so people can do the other things in their life while they're also enjoying the books. All right, thank you very much for your attention, and I will speak with you in future videos.